From his very busy schedule, Chairman Jaime Harrison of the Democratic National Committee has thoughts this morning.
Yes.
That he would like to share. Oh, hi. Good morning, Chairman. A great and good morning to you.
I love that laugh.
Good morning, Stephanie. How are you?
Well, I'm having a better morning than Kevin McCarthy.
Yes.
Strongly denies that he said any of that.
Kevin had a rough night last night. Rough night last night for Kevin McCarthy. I'm sure, he already had the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boeberts who were talking about him not being speaker already, right?
Yeah.
But,
That's the next tape to drop is him saying Twitter should take away their accounts as well. When he publicly
exactly right.
stands up against big tech, right, saying, oh, it's cancel culture.
This guy's a hypocrite. He speaks out both sides of his mouth. I've said it from the start that, a leader who would spend their time picking out the colored starburst for the president of the United States because he likes pink or orange and all that is no person who should ever have the title leader anywhere near them. He's feckless. He's spineless. He's a coward. And the tape last night just illustrated what so many of us knew for so long.
Yeah. I mean, and Mitch McConnell, it just shows the cowardice of not just these two men, but the whole party, Chairman. I mean, that Mitch McConnell said, oh, Democrats will take care of this son of a bitch for us.
Yes.
That is the pure Kevin McCarthy's on tape saying, I'm going to tell him to resign because there's enough votes to impeach him, thinking he's Barry Goldwater. He's going to tell him to go. And the whole party is just a bunch of cowards.
Well, Stephanie, you remember, I don't know if I'm a Greek mythology fan, and you remember that old movie, Clash of the Titans?
Yes.
And in that, they had those three witches that they were all blind and they had to share an eye.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, the Republican conference is like that, but they all have to share a spine because none of them have one. I mean, it is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Is that they get this little moment of courage and they stand up. You remember Lindsey Graham getting up there on January 6th? Enough is enough. I'm done. Yeah, I guess he had a few drinks that night. I'm done, right?
Yeah.
But he's not done. They're not done. They're all drunk on Donald Trump and all of his craziness. And the American people, we cannot award that. We reward that. We have to stand up because what these folks are trying to do is to destroy our country.
And I got to play Lindsey today for you. This is Lindsey Graham yesterday.
He needs to remind the American people of what we did in the past and what we can do in the future.
Yes.
And it's about the future. The election is about the future. And if this is a policy debate, we'll kick their ass. If it's a personality debate, we might lose.
It's not just about Donald Trump's personality.
How will you kick anybody's ass when you don't have a damn platform? You don't have a platform. For the first time in over 200 years, the Republican Party didn't pass a platform. So you have no damn policies. If the policy is you drinking a mint julep during the Senate Judiciary Committee, maybe, you'll kick somebody's ass. But other than that, you don't stand for anything other than power.
Let me take a moment to say, okay. Fight. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So, yes, that's what you said. As the Republican Party evolves from a party focused on individual liberty and limits on government power to a party that more fully embraces government control of the economy and morality, a combination of partisan animosity and public fear. I mean, that's all they've got, I guess. I keep saying this, Chairman. We can win these quote-unquote cultural issues because the vast majority of the American people are on our side on these issues.
And Stephanie, I've been saying this on your show for months now. Fraud, fear, fascism.
Yep.
That is all that they have. If you look at every single thing, you look at Abbott, who tried to wreck the economy because he wanted to own Joe Biden. You look at the little devil in Florida, DeSantis, who is going against Disney World.
Yeah. Running against Mickey Mouse.
Frozen and Snow White, right?
Yep.
This is the guy who wants the biggest employer in the state, 75,000 people.
Yeah.
If you rip Disney World out of Florida, Florida, who's going?
But you made a great point. I guess there are intended consequences. Governor Abbott, I forgot, Travis, what the number is, what he cost not just Texas taxpayers, but Americans.
It's billions to America.
Billion.
Right.
Billion.
With this little stunt. Well, first of all, the good news this morning, Ron DeSantis down by 13 points to Democrat Charlie Crist in a 2022 election poll.
Oh, wow.
Let me just say,
I haven't seen that poll.
Yeah, let me just say, Tristan Snell said Ron DeSantis' attempt to cancel Disney would mean $2 billion of debt being loaded onto Orlando area taxpayers, $2,200 per family. DeSantis has declared war on Orlando and on Florida's economy just to score points with QAnon radicals. Amy Siskin just with the same thing. Florida residents in Orange and Osceola counties, Osceola counties will now be saddled with over $1 billion of debt, with Disney had been paying, as well as being responsible for all municipal services like power, water, roads, fire protection. Good job, Ron DeSantis and Florida GOP. I mean, this just seems to me like they're just imploding. Every stunt they try is just blowing up in their face.
It really is. And I hope the American people see them for who they are. They don't really care about people suffering. They don't care about people keeping their jobs. They don't care about, if they did, then why did 193 Republicans vote against bringing down the cost of insulin?
Yeah.
The last time I saw, they're diabetics that are Democrats and Republicans and independents also. And some people are paying $1,000 a month in terms of cost for insulin. We were trying to bring it down to $35 a month for many families. And 193 of them voted against that.
Yeah.
And it's because, nobody, I guess those people aren't writing them checks.
Yeah.
To get elected. Well, it's just sad.
Meanwhile, these are two headlines. Chairman, unemployment claims in the U.S. dropped to the lowest level since 1970. And Brian Schatz, our senator, tweeted the Republican plan to address inflation is to raise taxes on 50% of Americans and bully gay kids. So, yeah, we've got problems. Well, we can still win the midterms if we stand up and fight. In terms of your job, you said Democrats are fired up and ready for 22. We raised $16.8 million in March, bringing us to over $42 million raised in 2022. That's the most the DNC has ever raised in the first quarter of a midterm year. So I'm hoping people are tired of pundits telling us we've already lost the midterms. I hope people would like to get out and vote.
And the thing that I hope, Stephanie, is that our folks online will stop all of the damn hand-wringing and the worrying, and start getting on the phone and doing some voter registration. Start knocking on some doors to make sure that the neighbors know about all the things that the Republicans are doing right now. Now, we are going to start very soon in terms of, we already have radio spots going up in the Black community. Our Latino spots are going up. We're doing things in the AAPI community. So all of these things are starting to ramp up. And the reason why you have to do it, you can't do it all year long, is because you got to save your money to a time when people are paying attention. I asked somebody, I had people last year like, we need ads, and we need ads now in November, December. I asked a buddy of mine, I said, do you remember the last, I said, you watched the Super Bowl? And he said, yeah. I said, do you remember the ads from the Super Bowl? He said, I think there was an ad about this or that. I said, but do you remember any of the ads and what they said? No. Well, if you didn't remember the Super Bowl ads in January, why the hell am I going to spend millions of dollars that we can then put into the ground and operations and voter protection back in November and October? You got to, when you have limited resources, you got to be smart with how you spend them. People are now starting to pay attention. And now, because the primaries are coming along, and that is when you start to make sure that the message is strong, that you move on these issues. There's so many things, but you got to be smart in terms of how you do that. And at the same time, you got to build the operation. There's certain things that you can't start in August and September. Yeah. If you're going to do organizers on the ground and do it in a meaningful way, you need at least a year to do that. And guess what? That's what we've been doing for over a year. We've been doing voter registration for over a year. We've been building out voter protection programs over a year. We've given state parties millions of dollars now for over a year so that they can build capacity. And now you move into this phase of starting to message what is going on.
And I know we did better in redistricting than we had thought we were going to do. But is it concern you what happened on the, in speaking of Florida again, them trying to gerrymander black districts out of existence, and, all of the legislators there standing up on the House floor. So it just seems, I don't know how else to say it. It seems like they can only win by cheating. It seems like all they're investing in now.
And that's why the John Lewis voting rights bill was so important. And I know, I spoke with Tim Kaine not too long ago. He still haven't given up in terms of trying to figure out some way. But, we have to end political gerrymandering in this country. And we can do that, folks. The power is in our hands. We get people to turn out, and we keep a majority, and we actually grow our majority in the U.S. Senate. We got a lot of great pickup opportunities in the Senate, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, in Wisconsin. Val Demings is fighting her heart out in Florida. Yeah. Ohio, Tim Ryan. Missouri may come on to the on the lot. There's so many great opportunities for us to really make some gains. Louisiana got interesting candidates. I mean, so Kentucky, we can't give up. We got to fight.
Right.
We got to fight everywhere.
Chairman,
and I think we have great candidates to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Do you get as frustrated? I'm sure you do. Get as frustrated as I do with President Biden's approval ratings when on every provable statistic, this is the best economy. And what did I just say? Since 1970? I mean, all of it. GDP, jobless claims, wages, all of it. Why do you think, again, the mainstream media, I have a million things to say about, but why do you think that we have statistics like that more people think we've lost jobs when we have gained, nearly 8 million now? How do we turn that around before the midterms?
Well, I think the big thing is, Stephanie, that COVID still is having an impact on a lot of people in terms of how they look at the world, right? It is sort of seen as the sort of wet blanket in terms of how we go on our day-to-day, particularly if you have small kids, particularly if you have family members who are immunocompromised. And it's like a roller coaster. Like things are looking better for one day and then they're worse the next day. And so it's hard for us to control for that. But what we have to do, and I think the president is doing this now, and we'll see the vice president. I know I'm going to be all over the country. Pete Buttigieg is going over the country. We got to go out there and talk to people. We got to go to these small rural communities and talk to people and let them know when we have these ribbon cuttings for these construction projects. I mean, the impact that is having already, a huge boon for the economy. And so people have to see that more. And I think when they see it more, then they realize it more as well. And we have to paint the picture that Republicans, while we are trying to mitigate the impact of inflation, that Republicans aren't doing a damn thing to help on that. They're actually fanning the flames to make it worse, i.e. Greg Abbott in Texas.
Well, they just
and so we got to highlight that, not be afraid to do so.
As you always say, fear is one of the components. They run on fear and dividing. I mean, when they accuse us of being too woke, the best I can think that means is don't be a jerk to someone that's different than you. Right? I mean, I don't know what, teaching racism is bad and, don't bully gay kids is, I think, what the majority of people think. And so I think even these cultural issues they're trying to run on, we can take back.
We can take back, and we can be bold on that. The senator from Michigan, who and I know many of us have been sharing her remarks. I'm actually talking with her later on today. She was bold and fighting back against the things that they were trying to throw on her.
Senator
and we
McMorrow.
all have to do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's this whole, they think they're going to win on these cultural issues, but again, as polling shows, Americans are with us on that. It's just mean-spirited. A lot of they're supposed to be the small government party. They want to tell women what they can do with their bodies, how you can raise your trans kids, your gay kids. I mean, they want to be in every element of our personal lives.
And that is part of the definition of fascism. Right? When you want to dictate morality for the greater populace. And that's what they're trying to do. There's this quote that I often use from Dr. King in his letter from a Birmingham jail, which folks, listeners, if you have not read that, you need to, because it's a remarkable piece to think that he wrote this in a jailhouse without Google, without encyclopedias.
Yeah.
But in that, he said, "We will repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad, time for the good people in this country to wake the hell up."
Yep.
We got to stand up and push back against all of these negative, nasty, divisive things that we are seeing from the other side.
Absolutely. Chairman, I don't know how you made time in your busy schedule to share in the Schadenfreude this morning, but thank you. The McCarthy Schadenfreude.
You know, I always love coming on your show, Stephanie, and I can't wait to do it in person.
Me
Yes.
too.
Next time I'm out here, I'm coming to the studio.
Let's do it. All
Yes.
right. We can't wait. Thanks so much, Chairman. I would appreciate
you
your
so
time.
much.
There he goes. Chairman Jamie Harrison.